stronger than ever mine. Look how I've grown, lifted in every endeavor. When I look back on all I've done, everything I've lost or won, it all fades into the glory of my never-ending story. Stronger than ever, no, never alone. Stronger than ever, mine. Look how I've grown, lifted in every endeavor. Stronger than ever, no, never alone. Stronger than ever, mine. Look how I've grown, lifted in every endeavor. Stronger than ever. Stronger than ever. Stronger than ever. Stronger than ever. Stronger than ever.
Welcome, everyone, to New Thought Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Sarah Forbes, and I am a ministerial candidate and your speaker for today. I'm happy to be here with all of you online and in person. We are an inclusive, progressive, and compassionate community that is dedicated to spirit-led social action and to helping make the world a better place. All people, all faiths are welcome here. And not only are you welcome here, but we have mindfully and thoughtfully created a space just for you, just as you are today. If you want to learn more about who we are, you can check out our website at newthoughtcsl.org, and there's more information at our info table downstairs after service if you're here in person as well. Now is the time in the service where we acknowledge that we are on the ancestral land of the Kalapuya people, and we affirm Indigenous history, experiences, and sovereignty. I invite everyone now to share with me the vision and mission statement for New Thought Center for Spiritual Living. Our vision: recognizing our oneness, we envision a world that works for everyone and all creation. Our mission: providing spiritual tools for personal and global transformation. I ask everyone now to turn around and just wave hi to our online folks. Just give them some love. Thanks for being with us today, everyone online. And I also want to, now that we're saying hi to everyone online, I want to thank our online hosts today, Kelly Satimo, a practitioner, and Lori Nazareno, another practitioner. Thank you so much, Kelly and Lori, for being our online hosts today. We have some very special flower acknowledgments this morning. Our first flowers are from Ann Sherman and Chris Corcoran. And the message they wrote is that it's from them to just say thank you for all that we do here at New Thought Center. And this plant here is for our dear Rand. This plant is to honor Rand Deal, our sound engineer. He's back there in that booth if you want to give him some love. And not only are we just honoring him just because we do love Rand and he does so much for us, but today is a very special day. It is Rand's birthday. Rand, we are so grateful for all that you do to support us on Sunday and always. Happy birthday. And now I'm going to invite everyone just to take a breath and settle in, really arrive here in the space today as I invite our dear practitioner, Terry, up to do our opening blessing. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Sarah, and good morning. I appreciate you, Sarah, inviting us to come into this place and release what came before. So staying in that, centering here where we are, I invite you, if you're comfortable, to close your eyes, rest them down, look down, and allow yourself to take a deep cleansing breath. Taking in that life-affirming breath and releasing that which no longer serves. And let's take one more gentle breath and really bring ourselves to here now. And staying in this gentle, peaceful feeling, I acknowledge that this comes from breathing in and knowing that the divine spirit is here now. Whether we are in the building or at home or taking in a message anywhere, that presence is always here, every moment, every place, now. Just feel into that flow of spirit and know that all is well. And I take this gratitude from just being able to center in. And I recognize that today, during our service, we will be able to receive that which we need. Perhaps we didn't even know we need it. And remain open to all the wisdom that is shared by practitioner, ministerial student, Sarah. And I bless this time together. I bless all that it takes to bring us here, centered, listening, and taking in and feeling all that power in the presence. And I bless all the people everywhere here that is making this time so beautiful and powerful. Our music ministry, our audiovisual, Rand, yes, our staff, practitioners, the blessed people who are with our dear children, all of it coming together to bring us here, centered now, to become wholly available to that which Spirit is guiding us to. Let's take another gentle breath. And allow it to be. And so it is. Now we're going to move into our time of spiritual practice. If you are able and willing, I invite you to stand during the song.
and so it is. You'll find out momentarily.
Good morning. Thanks, Melissa. I'm John Doobie, one of your practitioners. And this morning we're going to hear from our founder, Ernest Holmes. And he says, "Love is within us. It cannot be destroyed. It can be ignored to the extent that we abandon love. We feel it has abandoned us. Denying love is our only problem, and embracing love is the only answer. Through the power of love, we can let go of past history and begin again. Love heals, forgives, and makes whole." And so it is.
Thank you, John. And while we bring Darcy up to sing for us, I would like to acknowledge our newest backup vocalist. Please give a big round of applause for practitioner Melissa K. Allen. And now, Darcy Bradley.
My mother was a sunshine soldier. Every day was a dream come true. She said that we were blessed by the breath deep inside us. She could make the colors of the sky turn blue. She said, "Honey, what you gonna do today? You're second guessing every single move you make. You're definitely gonna have some very hard days, but I'll be right here for you." And she said, "Before I go, there is one thing you should know. That I give love to all of my people need love. I give love to all of my people need love. Well, I give love to all of my people need love. 'Cause in the end, the love we taste got nothing on the love we make. So give love. So give love. So give love. She said, "You're gonna be the light in a cold world. You got extra love pumping up in your veins. To my people feeling down, to my people feeling empty. We got so much of this love, I gotta give it away. Honey, what you gonna do today? You're second guessing every single move you make. You're definitely gonna have some very hard days, but I'll be right here for you." And she said, "Before I go, there is one thing you should know. That I give love to all of my people need love. I give love to all of my people need love. Well, I give love to all of my people need love. 'Cause in the end, the love we taste got nothing on the love we make. So give love. So give love. So give love. Come on, band. Ooh, I give love to all of my people need love. Well, I give love
so great. Darcy and the New Thought Messengers. And I understand this is Melissa's first time singing with you all. I didn't even know. So great. Beautiful, beautiful. Such a perfect song to address what I'm going to talk to today. I'm so glad that everyone is here, online and in person. Welcome again. My talk title today is Emanations of Love. And an emanation is a perceptible thing. It's a substance that derives from another source. And this means that it contains everything that that source has. It's sometimes easy to think about it by looking at the sun. The rays of the sun are emanations of the sun. Every sun ray contains everything that the sun has. All of life emanates from God. You could call God Source, you could call God the Tao, you could call God by many names. Whatever name you choose, it is that ineffable presence that pervades all of life. And God is love. In the Bible, in John chapter 4, verse 16, it states that God is love, and whoever abides in love abides in God, and God abides in them. So when we are aware of the love in us, the unconditional loving presence in us, when we're aware of that, we also become aware of God. It's the same thing. So God is abiding in us, and we are abiding in God when we turn towards love. Ernest Holmes said, "Love is at the center of our being, and the calm, continuous pulsations of life are governed by love." I can't think of a better way to speak about emanation. The pulsations of life. This means everything is pulsating from God. Everything is governed by God, not some man in the clouds. It's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the presence, the love, the force, the field of consciousness, whatever words you want to choose to describe that unconditional, unscathed, untouched, pure love that is in all things. This also means that no matter what you've done or not done in your past, it is impossible for you to sever yourself from love. You are never separated from love. There is a part of you that is always pure love. So today I want to dive into how to tap into that kind of love and to recognize it more and more in ourselves and in the world. I want to begin by looking at the statement, I am an emanation of love. I personally am an emanation of love. So everybody say that with me now, online in person. I am an emanation of love. It can be hard sometimes to find that love inside of us because every single human being on this planet has wounds. We've all been wounded. We've all experienced some level of dysfunction in our past. I haven't met a human today that hasn't. And so we all have triggers. We all have patterns that are coming up that sometimes cause us to feel separate, to abandon that love, to turn the other way from it, but it's still in us. It's always in us. And one of the best ways that I've found that we can recognize the love in ourselves is to become familiar with the loving parent that's inside of us. Now, whether you're a parent in life to young beings or not, or have been in the past, we all have a loving parent in us, an unconditional loving parent in us. This is actually God's relationship to us. God sees us through the eyes of an unconditional loving parent. And so when you get in touch with the loving parent that is within you, then you see as God sees, you see as the loving presence within you. I have 2 children. One of my children, my oldest child, is what some might call difficult. I don't know if anyone here has had a difficult child. And as smart and intelligent and quick-witted and awesome as he is, He really gets under my skin sometimes. He is a delight in some moments, and he is a force in other moments. And what I will say about this wonderful, perfect, beautiful soul is that he has unearthed a lot of discomfort in me. And his mood can switch like that. And when it does, I get very uncomfortable. Oftentimes when he wakes up in the morning or from naps when he was younger, he would be in a mood, and he would just be scowling, looking for anything he could to point out that was wrong. It was like everything in his view was clouded. So that's too big, that's too small. I don't want to eat any of the things you've suggested. I don't want to get up and do what you're asking me to do, right? So just everything's wrong. And for my older son, this would go on for hours. And the whole time I would be in resistance to it. I would be up against it. And I remember one day, I went to wake him up from nap, and I was standing in the doorway, and he woke up with that little scowl on his face, and I knew what was coming. And I was about ready to kind of retreat and put my walls up like I normally do. And I would usually say to him, "Hey, honey, I can see you're having a hard time right now. Why don't we reconnect when you're feeling better?" That's what I used to say to him. And I don't know that there's anything particularly wrong with that, but what I realized that day when I was standing in the doorway was that I was running away from his darkness. I wasn't able to hold it, and I wasn't able to carry it. And so it couldn't really move through him. And this is why it went on for hours and hours and hours and hours. So that day, instead of turning away from him, I said, I'm going to do something different this time. And I went and I sat right down next to him on his bed. And I said, "Hey, how are you feeling?" And he looked at me and scowled and didn't say anything. And I said, "Oh, I made a mistake. I should just get up and leave. This is not going well." And I said, No, I'm going to stay. And I said, "Okay." And I remembered that every time I wake up, every time I get up in the morning, I feel awful. I don't feel good. I feel sad. That's how I wake up every day, everyone. And I have to move through that, okay? And I'm just being really real here. And so I sat down with my little one and I said, "Hey, you know what? Sometimes when mommy wakes up, a lot of times when mommy wakes up, I feel really sad. Do you feel sad?" And then the tears came and his little lips stuck out and he was going to cry. And he was kind of holding it back a little bit and he said, "Yes, I feel sad." And I said, "Oh, honey, where do you feel that?" And he said, "Right here." And I said, "Oh, sweetie, I know, because when I wake up, that's where I feel it too." And we both started crying. And we held each other for, it was literally like 3 seconds. And then he popped right up and said, "I'm going to go play." And he was in the best mood. And I realized in that moment something very profound. All he needed was to just be seen and to be understood, and for somebody to know that everything's in its right place. Nothing needed to be fixed. He just needed to be heard. Now, this is not just true for my son and my little life. This is true for everyone who's in need of love, no matter how triggering they are. They just need to be heard. They need to be seen with compassion. And of course, this is sometimes hard to do. So I strongly recommend that we learn to be the loving parent towards ourselves first, because one of the reasons I was able to have that aha moment when I stood in the doorway was because I practice daily being loving towards what I see inside of myself. That's how I had the awareness to be able to connect that I was sharing that pain with him. I wouldn't have seen that if I didn't do my own practice in being my own loving parent first. And so how we do that is when we feel triggered and when we feel ickiness coming up and we feel uncomfortable, we get curious about our own feelings and, how am I feeling? Where is that in my body? And we don't judge, we don't shame, we don't scold. Okay, and I know this is hard. That's why the key word here is practice. And if you have kids, I know how hard it is. Believe me, to not judge, shame, and scold. I know. I feel it rise up in me sometimes when they're especially overstimulating, and I have to become really aware that I'm about to do something that I might regret. So I'm not saying this is easy. This is difficult. But we can be the loving parent towards ourselves. We can practice pulling out of the discomfort and watching it, getting curious about it, and loving it, and understanding, again, that everything is in its right place. This brings me to my next point, that they are emanations of love. I want everyone to say that with me. They are emanations of love. Not the people that we like, that agree with us. They are too. But what I'm talking about right now are the people that we don't agree with, the people who we think are threatening us, threatening our livelihoods, threatening our security. They are also emanations of love, and this can be even more difficult to see. But if we practice doing our inner work, where we are able to love ourselves and be the loving parent towards ourselves, it becomes much easier to be the loving parent when we're faced with triggers outside of ourselves. Imagine, again, a young child having a tantrum, a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, just screaming and wailing. And in your head, you're thinking, okay, this is nonsense. Who cares? I mean, who really cares that this bar broke in half? I mean, does it really matter? You're going to bite it in half anyway in about 2 seconds. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, right? But you're just sitting there and you understand that they don't have that awareness. And you understand that they don't have the development in that moment to turn off those big, big feelings. This does not just apply to little children, my friends. This applies to adults. Not all of us grew up in loving environments. Some of us have faced great tragedy. Some of us haven't been tapped into the unconditional love that's inside of us. So when we see adults outside of us throwing tantrums, kicking and screaming, excuse me, I think I might need some water. Kicking and screaming, you want to bring that to me? The other one, the little one. Thank you. Sorry. That's my Enneagram 1 coming out. Thanks so much. So the adults, too, they're kicking and screaming, and you see them doing things that don't look like love, right? And we're going to get into this again in just a little bit. We can look at them and say, wow, I'm still going to set my boundaries. I'm still going to hold my structure. I'm going to be assertive if I need to. But can I set my boundaries, be assertive, and hold structure, and also see simultaneously that everything is in its right place? There's nothing wrong with this person. That's tough. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So again, the loving parent has to set boundaries. If a parent didn't set boundaries, what would happen to the child? Right? I'm not even going to go into that, but we've seen examples of entitlement, right? So we have to set boundaries as parents to children. We have to provide structure. But can we do that and see with clarity? And this brings me to the last point that I want to go over with everyone today, and it is that we collectively are emanations of love. We are emanations of love. Say that with me. We are emanations of love, collectively. We are collectively evolving into greater and greater expressions of unconditional love, right here and right now. In the teachings of Hasidic Judaism, and actually some of these teachings derive from Kabbalah, there is a practice of tracing wrongdoings back to its holy origin of love, the holy origin of love. So in Hasidic Judaism, when they see that there are wrongdoings in the world, or some may call these acts evil, what they do is they practice tracing it back to love. When love is expressed through a human vessel, an individual consciousness, it doesn't always look like what we would judge as love. Love can sometimes express as deviated, demented, even perverse. It depends on the individual it's being expressed through. But we are never, never separated from source. Even in our acts of ignorance, love is still there. As John so beautifully read earlier, love within us cannot be destroyed, but it can be ignored. We feel it to the degree that we are aware of it. If we abandon love, then it'll feel like love has abandoned us. And unconditional love is trying so desperately to work through all of us right now. And it just depends on our own history, our own background, our own makeup as to how this love comes out. So this is a teaching in Hasidic Judaism. And it helps me remember that all is still love, no matter how it shows up. We can support the spiritual evolution and awakening of humanity to unconditional love when we choose not to lose sight of love. Again, this doesn't mean that we don't set boundaries. It doesn't mean that we excuse behaviors. It doesn't mean any of that. But can we do all of that and simultaneously hold the higher vision, hold the higher view that love is still there, that everything ultimately is in its right place? When we hold space as an unconditional, loving parent holds space for its child, for their child, then I believe that we have a profound impact on allowing that awareness to quicken for humanity, to collectively rise faster in terms of how we see unconditional love and experience unconditional love. So don't let what we're seeing in the world today influence your perception of love or your belief in where we can go in love as a human race. Heraclitus, who is my favorite pre-Socratic philosopher, said, "They do not apprehend how being in conflict, it still agrees with itself. There is an opposing coherence as in the tensions of the bow and the lyre." I'm going to read that one more time because it's very important. They do not apprehend how being in conflict, it still agrees with itself. There is an opposing coherence as in the tensions of the bow and the lyre. What Heraclitus is saying, and many Greek philosophers shared this view, ancient Greek philosophers, there is a harmony in tension, there is a unity in conflict, and there is love in wrongdoing. This is the paradox that we are being called to hold in our bodies, in our minds. And of course, it takes practice. Again, this is not easy. But every single individual that feels called today to start practicing this, I urge you to do so. Practice being the loving parent towards yourself, towards the other, and towards all of humanity. The past few years, I've watched families, I've watched our country, I've watched our world fraction off and cling to opposing ideologies so tightly that we can't hear each other anymore. I have seen parents sever relationships with their children. I have seen the media condemn and demonize people. I have seen politicians on both sides spew rhetoric that is opposing and contributing to the polarization that we're seeing today. I can feel the tension in my body when I witness it. I don't know about you. But if I stay with that tension long enough, at first it feels like a sort of death, like things are coming to an end. But it's not a death. It's an opening. It's a portal. It's an opening to something bigger, something greater. It's an opening to a higher order. It's an opening to love, to true love, to unconditional love. Tension and opposing forces are necessary to contain our solar system. Tension and opposing forces are necessary to give birth to new life. Our entire evolution has depended on and continues to depend on chaos, tension, and conflict. We are moving from one level of chaos right now to a higher order a higher love. And what Heraclitus was saying is that the tension we're experiencing right now is part of the birth. So if you can hold that vision, then you are seeing through the eyes of the loving parent. Imagine for a second, or maybe longer, I don't think this is going to take a second. Imagine for a little bit that our entire life, not just humans, but the entire life, the entire world, the entire planet Earth, runs for 5 hours, okay? From the dinosaurs to us now to whatever we become. It runs for 5 hours, okay? What we're experiencing right now, the polarization we're seeing, the tensions we're feeling, the way we're bumping up against each other is a nanosecond in those 5 hours. And as human beings, we oftentimes get stuck in what we can see in the limited time of the nanosecond. But God is beyond time and space. God sees way more than the nanosecond. God sees the full 5 hours. So when we learn to be the loving parent and we tap into the love of God within us, we also have the ability to see the full 5 hours. And we get to see how the 5 hours are a beautiful expression of love. And I invite you today to rest in that truth. If you can't quite feel it yet, rest in the idea of it. Because it's a hard thing to get to, I know. I've been there, I've walked that path, and I know it's tough. So even if you can't quite rest fully or grasp how the full 5 hours of this world is an expression of unconditional love, just rest in the idea that that's possible. And this, again, is how we open that portal, little by little. If we just start to practice being the loving parent to ourselves, to each other, to humanity, and again, we set our boundaries, we say what we need to say, we don't excuse any behavior that's harmful, we take care of ourselves, but simultaneously understand, it's very paradoxical, that everything is in its right place. Everything. I invite you to practice seeing all things as the loving parent. If you feel moved or called today, take out a journal when you get home or a piece of paper and write down, who am I as the loving parent? How do I show up in the world as a loving parent? And journal about it. What does your version of the loving parent look like? How would you parent? What kind of boundaries would you set? When would you relinquish those boundaries? And if it serves you, if you're having a particular tough time with someone or some idea, journal about how you would be the loving parent ideally to that person or to that situation. And then practice as best you can joining with that parent. It's going to be messy, that's okay, but practicing it is better than not practicing it, right? So I encourage you all today and invite you all into this practice. When we see humanity through the eyes of this parent, we contribute to creating a world that looks more like pure, unscathed, untouched love. Thank you. And I invite you all now into prayer. You can close your eyes if it feels comfortable for you, or just simply cast your eyes downward. And as I move into the energy of prayer, I just affirm that there is one presence, one power, one love that is greater than all circumstances. There is a love so big and so bright and so powerful that it moves through all space, all time, all things. I know that all that we share here together is an expression of that big, big love of God, of Source, of that which is known by many names. From the music to the reading, to the opening prayer, to everything, the announcements, to everyone who said yes to being here today, online and in person. All of it is that love moving in one to realize more and more and more of the truth. And so as I rest in this knowing, I give great thanks for New Thought Center for Spiritual Living. For each person here, I give great thanks for the many hands it takes to bring us this experience today. And in this expression of gratitude, I bless all things, all people, all spaces, all circumstances. And a special, special blessing to those in Maui in the tragedy of the fire, as I hold all impacted by that fire in love and in my heart. And I release this prayer, I release this blessing, knowing that it is done, that it is good. Blessed be, and so it is. I thought the song was after this, but it's the conscious giving, and I'm doing that today. So hello again. I totally thought the song was after. I could sing a song, but I'm not going to. That's for Darcy and Melissa to do. So I just invite everyone now to enter into the spirit of conscious giving. If you feel supported by New Thought Center for Spiritual Living through this talk, through the music, through the message, through the many, many events and classes and workshops that we hold here, I invite you to take a look at what's yours to give today. And just know that from everyone here at New Thought Center for Spiritual Living, that we are in deep gratitude of your service, your time, your energy, and your talent. Thank you so much for your gift and for being here. I invite you to place your hand over your heart and join me in our offertory blessing. From the love of pure spirit within me, I bless this gift. I send it forth to heal and bless and prosper. It does good work in the world and returns to me multiplied abundantly, and so it is. And now Darcy and the New Thought Messengers, for real this time.
Love, shine a light in every corner of my heart. Let the love light carry, let the love light carry, and light up the magic in every little part. Let our love shine a light in every corner of my heart. Shine a light in every corner of my dream. Let the love light carry.
Thank you, all of you. I have a few announcements here. We've got lots going on. The first one is a workshop by Rev Shannon, Growing Your Intuition. Learn how to live an extraordinary life by using your intuitive intelligence. It's on Sunday, September 3rd, 12:30 to 2:30. It's in person and it's online, and it's $25 for one person, $45 for two. And you can bring your partner or your friend. Register now at the registration desk downstairs in the community hall, or go to newthoughtscsl.org. Please plan to attend our community meeting next Sunday, August 27th, 12:30 to 2. It's a great way to stay informed, and we always have news and information to share. A light lunch will be available in the community hall for a love offering. So enjoy some nosh first and return to the sanctuary for the meeting. We are excited to announce the launch of NTCSL Colorado. The first gathering will also be next Sunday, August 27th at Annette Nelson's home. All Colorado community members are invited to gather in person each month on the last Sunday of that month in someone's home. A guided meditation is at 11:30 Mountain Time, and at 12 noon Mountain Time, everyone will watch our Sunday service together, and it will be followed by prayer after the service. What a wonderful opportunity for our Colorado folks to gather in person and feel supported and to be uplifted and inspired together. Please RSVP at, there it is, bottom right, annette.nelson@newthoughtscsl.org. And then last, choir practice is resuming. It's on Thursday evening beginning September 7th, 7:30 to 8:30 in the fireside room. If you love to sing, yes.
Let me interrupt.
Yes.
We are actually moving to the Learning Center this year. There's going to be something going on in the fireside room on Thursday, so choir practice will be at 7 o'clock in the Learning Center.
Okay, thank you.
And please come and sing with us.
Mm-hmm. And everyone's invited.
Everyone is invited,
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And you will be lovingly welcomed into this special group.
Thank you, Terry, for those announcements. I want to first just thank all of our online viewers today. We have people watching from California, Baja, Mexico, Colorado, Oregon, and Washington. You are loved. Thank you for being with us this morning. Now is the time in service where I'm going to ask our prayer practitioners to stand and come down to the front of the platform. Prayer practitioners are available for you today if you would like in-person prayer. And then we also have prayer online. You can go to our website to find out how to enter into the prayer room online. And our practitioners today, again, are Kelly Satimo and Lori Nazareno. I invite everyone to stand for our final blessing. May you go in the light, as the light, and with the light until we meet again. The longtime sun shines upon you, all love surrounds you, and the pure light within you guides you on your way. You are loved.
I release
And I let go.